What is real? It's a big question. For you and me, reality is what our senses tell us it is. We wake up in the morning and see the sunlight streaming through the window. We hear the birds singing their morning songs. We feel the warmth of a fresh cup of coffee in our hands. We smell its rich aroma, and finally, we taste its comforting bitterness. Our entire experience of the world, every single moment of our lives, is filtered through a small set of tools. These tools are our senses: sight, hearing, touch, smell, and taste. They are the windows through which we perceive the universe. These 5 senses build our personal universe. They are the architects of our reality. But what if our windows are very small? What if they only show us a tiny fraction of what is truly out there? Our eyes can only see a sliver of the electromagnetic spectrum, which we call visible light. We are blind to the radio waves that carry our favorite songs through the air. We cannot see the ultraviolet light that gives us a sunburn. Many birds can see ultraviolet light. A flower that looks plain yellow to us might have intricate patterns visible only to a bee or a bird. These patterns act like landing strips, guiding them to the nectar. Sharks and rays can detect the tiny electric fields produced by the muscles of their prey. They can see a fish hiding under the sand not with their eyes, but with special electroreceptors in their skin. Snakes have pits on their faces that can detect infrared radiation. This allows them to see the world in terms of heat. Let's begin our journey with the sense we humans rely on most: sight. Our world is built around vision. Our cities, our art, our communication, so much of it is designed to be seen. We have 2 forward-facing eyes that give us a wonderful gift called stereoscopic vision. This allows us to perceive depth, to judge distances with remarkable accuracy. The mantis shrimp is the undisputed champion of color vision. It has up to 16 types of photoreceptor cells. We can't even begin to imagine the colors a mantis shrimp can see. An alien from a planet orbiting a dim red dwarf star might evolve enormous eyes. Their pupils might be huge, like a cat's, to gather every last particle of faint light. Conversely, an alien from a world blasted by the intense radiation of a blue giant star might have eyes with built-in filters. Now let's close our eyes and listen. Hearing is our sense of vibration. Sound is simply pressure waves traveling through a medium, like air or water. Elephants communicate using infrasound, deep rumbling sounds far below our ability to hear. These low-frequency waves can travel for many kilometers through the ground and air, carrying messages about water sources or potential threats. Dolphins and bats are masters of this high-frequency world. They use a process called echolocation. They send out high-pitched clicks and listen for the echoes that bounce back. Imagine an alien from a planet with a very thick, dense atmosphere. On such a world, sound would travel much further and with greater clarity than on Earth. Hearing might become the dominant sense, far more important than sight. Touch is, well, perhaps our most personal and fundamental sense. It's actually the first sense we develop in the womb, and interestingly, it's the only sense that's spread across our entire body. A star-nosed mole has 22 fleshy tentacles on its snout, which it uses to feel its way through underground tunnels, identifying worms and insects with incredible speed. Consider for a moment an alien living in a world of constant, powerful winds. Such a creature might not have skin like ours. Instead, it could be covered in a network of fine, hair-like filaments. Imagine a creature that lives in the thick, soupy atmosphere of a gas giant like Jupiter. Its sense of touch could be based entirely on pressure. It could feel the great storms and swirling vortices of its world as we might feel a gentle breeze on our skin. Finally, we arrive at our chemical senses: smell and taste. They're intimately linked and often work together. Smell detects airborne chemicals that enter our nose. Taste detects chemicals dissolved in our saliva. A dog's sense of smell is 10,000 to 100,000 times more sensitive than ours. When a dog sniffs the ground, it's reading a rich story written in scent molecules. Imagine an alien in a dark cave system or murky ocean where sight is useless. Its primary sense could be hyper-advanced taste and smell combined. Instead of a nose or mouth, its entire skin could be covered in chemoreceptors. An alien might taste the emotional state of another creature, sensing chemical markers for fear, aggression, or contentment. Their art might not be visual or auditory, but gustatory, creating complex flavor experiences to evoke emotions. We start with a force that surrounds us every day, yet we're almost completely oblivious to it: magnetism. Imagine an alien from a planet with a much stronger, more chaotic magnetic field than Earth's. Perhaps the alien's body is filled with tiny, free-floating crystals of a magnetic material like magnetite. These microscopic compass needles would align themselves with the local field lines. Now let's consider another invisible force: electricity. What if an alien evolved an active electrical sense? It could emit a constant, low-voltage electrical field from its body. Could an alien life form have evolved a sense that taps directly into quantum phenomena? What if an alien could create and maintain entangled pairs of particles within its own body? Our final imagined sense deals with the most mysterious dimension of all time. For humans, time feels like a river, flowing steadily in one direction, from the past through the present and into the future. Could an alien species, a chronocept, perceive time in a completely different way? It might be able to see the near future, not in a magical, prophetic way, but by perceiving the echoes and ripples of probability. This advanced chronoception could also extend into the past. While we rely on fallible memory, this alien might be able to perceive a recording of past events, perhaps by sensing residual energy patterns left in the environment. Living with such a sense would fundamentally change the nature of consciousness. For this alien, the present might be a much thicker, richer concept, incorporating threads of the immediate past and the most probable future. The environment is the ultimate sculptor of life. Let's start with a planet much more massive than Earth, a high-gravity world. Life here would be a constant battle against the crushing force of its own weight. In such a place, a sense we barely notice could become the key to survival. Proprioception, the sense of our body's position in space. For an alien on a high-gravity world, this sense would be supercharged. Now let's leave solid ground entirely and travel to one of the most extreme environments imaginable: the atmosphere of a gas giant like Jupiter. Life here would be airborne, perhaps like giant living zeppelins floating in the thick clouds. In a world without landmarks, where storms the size of planets rage for centuries, how would a creature navigate? Here, a sense for pressure gradients and atmospheric flow would be paramount for survival. So our final stop is, well, perhaps the most exotic: a world where life isn't based on carbon but on silicon. On this strange, cold planet, far from its star, life might have arisen in complex crystalline structures. In a rigid, crystalline environment, vibrations would travel with incredible fidelity and speed. The dominant sense might therefore be an ultra-sophisticated form of seismology, or vibrosensing. The aliens might speak by tapping or scraping parts of their bodies, generating complex vibrational patterns that travel through the ground. Their language could be like a form of music or percussive poetry. Their reality would be a solid-state symphony, a world not of light and shadow but of resonance and rhythm, a universe perceived through the good vibrations of their crystal home. A species' senses do more than just help it find food and avoid danger. They fundamentally shape the way it interacts with the world. Human technology is, well, overwhelmingly visual and auditory. But what kind of technology would an alien species build? A species with a completely different sensory toolkit? It probably wouldn't bother with visual displays. Instead, it might develop stress fields. Culture is the story a species tells itself about who it is. An alien culture, built on a different set of senses, would be profoundly different. Think about the crystalline beings who see the world through vibrations. What would their art be? Now let's imagine the culture of a species with an advanced chemical sense, one that can taste emotions. For such a species, privacy would be a completely alien concept. You could not hide your feelings. Science fiction loves the idea of a universal translator, a handy device that instantly lets us talk to any alien species. But this idea assumes that all communication is basically like human language, a string of words with grammar and syntax. When we consider alien senses, we see that this is a huge oversimplification. How do you translate a language that isn't spoken or written? How do you explain the color red to a being that has no eyes? The challenge of communicating with an alien might be the greatest challenge of all, a barrier built by the very nature of perception. It would be like trying to describe a Beethoven symphony using only colors, or explaining the taste of chocolate using only numbers. To truly communicate, we would need more than a translator. We would need a bridge between consciousness itself. It suggests that if we ever do meet life from another world, the first and most profound discovery will be about the incredible diversity of what it means to be aware of the universe. Our journey through the sensory worlds of imagined aliens brings us back to ourselves here on Earth. It is a humbling experience. We humans often act as if our reality is the only reality, but this exploration shows us the profound limits of our own perception. Our human senses are not a direct pipeline to objective reality. They are a set of biological filters, beautifully tuned for survival on the plains of Africa, but filters nonetheless. Ultimately, this journey into the alien re-enchants our own world. It makes the familiar strange again. When you look at a bird, you can wonder about the secret ultraviolet colors it sees on a flower. This realization changes how we should approach the search for extraterrestrial life. Science and technology are, in a sense, our attempt to build new senses for ourselves. A telescope lets us see further than our eyes. In the end, the question of what aliens might sense is really a question about ourselves. It is a journey of empathy on a cosmic scale. While we may never meet a creature that tastes emotions or sees in magnetism, the act of imagining them enriches our own existence. The universe suddenly seems bigger, deeper, and infinitely more mysterious. It reminds us that there is always more to perceive, always more to learn, and that our reality is just one beautiful, fleeting interpretation among countless others. And that is a journey that is truly worth taking.